Is there supposed to be a certain protocol for people to check in?
No, and I begin with me, and then he can speak, and they can speak for the other generation. But I'm a never, you know what I mean? We don't have time for no sucker shit like that.
But what is the reason why you moved to Houston?
Well, look, first of all, like every time I've experienced Houston, like when I was out here, I ran into random acts of kindness. Like the people have been good to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of the places that I'm like, man, or maybe Houston, like Houston or Miami popped into my head. Mm-hmm. That's your 58%. I said, what? You my partner? The IRS is my partner now? Oh no, all you get is a Yankee hat? I'm going to Houston.
Looks like 50 Cent just shook the whole game with what he's revealing. This ain't just your typical rap beef, he's dropping serious claims that go way deeper than anybody expected. At first, folks thought it was just another ego battle. 50 refusing to check in when he hit Houston, JPrince feeling played. Same old street politics, right? But nah, 50 is now straight up saying there was a real plan to take him out. And he's not being subtle, he's dropping actual names. It gets even wilder because he's claiming Supreme McGriff's own son might have been in on it. And here's where things really go left. Rick Ross might be in the mix too. Word is he's been cozying up with some of 50's longtime enemies, adding fuel to an already blazing fire just to make things messier. Now, with 50 exposing all these behind-the-scenes connections, JPrince, Supreme's legacy, and all these shady moves, it's starting to make sense why he suddenly pulled out of Houston. Like, was there a whole setup brewing behind the scenes? Let's really break this down.
For me to start a new relationship with Houston, I'm excited about it. The opportunity, I had a lot of fun things for the kids. I think that they're really gonna get a chance to appreciate and enjoy it. And
it all kicked off in Houston, JPrince's stomping grounds. The man basically runs the city like it's his own private kingdom. When artists roll through, they're expected to check in. They call it respect, but let's be real. To a lot of people, it sounds more like pressure with a smile. And even those who do check in, some of them still end up getting hurt. So what's really going on?
Is there supposed to be a certain protocol for people to check in?
No, and I begin with me, and then he can speak, and they can speak for the other generation. But I'm a never, you know what I mean? We don't have time for no sucker shit like that.
Now enter 50 Cent. When he decided to pack up and move to Houston full time, JPrince expected the usual drill. But 50, he wasn't having it. He flat out refused to check in, made it crystal clear he doesn't owe anyone a thing. He's got his own bag, his own team, and he ain't about to follow some street politics he doesn't respect. To JPrince, that was a huge slap in the face. This wasn't just a quick trip. 50 straight up relocated. He even tweeted, "I love New York, but I live in Houston now." Folks thought it was just about saving money on taxes, but looking back, yeah, New York taxes are wild, and 50 Cent is all about his paper, but let's not get it twisted. There was way more behind his move to Houston.
Today, we have the honor of saying to him, he's our 2022 Grand Marshal. Give it up to Curtis 50 Jackson.
He wasn't just chasing a tax break, he had major plans lined up. We're talking a $20 million G-Unit film and TV studio, big-time alcohol branding plays, even giving back to schools and the community. He wasn't just moving, he was building an empire. Boss moves straight up. But here's where it gets sticky. He was doing all this right in JPrince's backyard. No check-in, no nod of respect, no blessings from the so-called gatekeepers. Just pulled up, set up shop, and kept it pushing. That kind of power move, it was guaranteed to ruffle feathers. And soon the whispers started flying. People were saying 50 was getting pressure behind closed doors, that some doors just weren't opening for him, that folks were watching, waiting, seeing if he'd slip.
You know, I have the resilience to go against anybody. Like, there's nobody that's too ill. Those are the guys that you would choose not to go against at that point. It's in the environment.
Word on the street was some crews were low-key plotting, but 50, he didn't fold, he doubled down and pushed harder. In his eyes, all this check-in stuff, just sugar-coated extortion. And honestly, he might not be wrong. Look at the history. Takeoff did check in and still ended up gone. Jacob the jeweler got pressed. Even XXXTentacion kept a low profile and still got caught up. So from 50's perspective, why hand over cash and power for protection that clearly don't protect? 50 saw right through it. Fake security, all smoke and mirrors. And after everything he's been through, fear just ain't part of his DNA. But then out of nowhere, the energy shifted. Quietly, without making a scene, 50 pulled out of Houston. The whole film studio plan, scrap. He rerouted everything to Shreveport, Louisiana. No drama, no press release, just a quiet exit that said a whole lot. People were left scratching their heads like, what?
It's for you, man. You the only one in Miami with that, baby. You know the, see what it is. You know the vibes. You see what it is. Yeah.
2020.
This was the same city that literally gave him a key to the streets, so why bounce now? The answer came later in a single line from an interview. Houston didn't embrace me the way I expected. That one sentence hit hard. Something clearly went down. The vibe had soured. He didn't feel safe no more. And here's the wild part. While all this was going on, 50 was still being celebrated. He was the Grand Marshal of Houston's Thanksgiving Day Parade. The mayor honored him. November 24th was officially 50 Cent Day. The city was clapping it up for him, but not everyone. JPrince, behind the scenes, insiders said he was heated. From his view, 50 was flexing in his city. Too much power, too much spotlight, and still no check-in. This wasn't just about clout anymore. This was about control, and 50 was taking it right out of his hands. And just when things seemed to cool down, boom, another name entered the mix, Supreme McGriff. If you know anything about 50's past, you already know. That's not a name to take lightly. Things were about to get way more serious.
This was the idea of my father, seeing that it was connections to Drake and Kanye, and that they were such iconic figures, and with them going through things.
Back in the early 2000s, 50 Cent survived something that would have ended most. He got shot 9 times. A lot of people in the street still believe Supreme's crew had something to do with it. Why? Because before that, 50 dropped a track called Ghetto Koran, where he named names and spilled deep street secrets about legendary figures in Queens. And Supreme was one of the names on that list. To the industry, it was just another gritty rap track, but to the streets, that was considered straight up snitching. And Supreme, he didn't take that lightly at all. Not long after, 50 got sprayed up, but he lived. And not only did he survive, he used that entire situation as fuel, flipping pain into power, turning his near-death story into a launch pad for fame and success. Meanwhile, Supreme's fate took a different route, life in prison. But through it all, he never folded, never flipped. That silence earned him serious respect behind bars and in the streets. While Supreme sat down, 50 ran up the charts using that same story in interviews, songs, movies. He monetized the madness. And Supreme, he never forgot. That kind of betrayal sticks. Then there's Irv Gotti, another heavyweight in this saga. He wasn't just cool with Supreme, they were like family. Irv held it down, even helped fund Supreme's legal fight when things got tight. No snitching, no backing out. That kind of loyalty runs deep, and Supreme respected it. But 50? He took a wrecking ball to Irv's empire. Murder Inc. got crushed. 50 didn't just take down Ja Rule, he left the whole Murder Inc.'s camp in the dust. Even after Irv Gotti passed, 50 still couldn't resist throwing shade. The moment the news hit that Irv had died from a stroke, 50 posted a pic of himself chilling, smoking hookah next to a fake gravestone with the caption, "I'm smoking on that Gotti pack. Nay, God bless him, LOL. The day before that, when the stroke first hit, 50 wrote, "Damn, I wanted him to see my new shows." Wild. That didn't sit right with Supreme's son, McGriff Jr. He wasn't about to stay silent. He jumped on Instagram and snapped back saying, "If I said I was smoking on your mother and your grandfather pack, ninjas would be telling me I'm wrong, right?" He called 50 a clown, then doubled down, saying, "Y'all really love this clown. Well, I'm always gonna give the same energy." To McGriff Jr., Irv wasn't just a music mogul, he was family. And in his eyes, disrespecting Irv was like disrespecting Supreme himself. That took things to a whole other level. And right around that time, 50 started posting cryptic stuff online. Mysterious captions, snakes in the grass type vibes, subtle jabs at enemies moving in silence. He never said names, but people could feel the tension brewing. It was clear. He wasn't blind to the drama building around him. Then things really exploded. 50 allegedly leaked info that hinted at secret convos between JPrince's crew and Supreme McGriff's son, allegedly plotting to set him up. Whether it was about putting pressure on him, forcing him out of the picture, or something even darker, 50 didn't keep it quiet. He wanted the world to know. And instead of hiding, he went full troll mode, openly daring JPrince to pull up. And just when you thought the beef couldn't get any crazier, Rick Ross jumped into the frame. Now 50 and Ross, that's been a decade-long war. Lawsuits, family shots, petty jabs, you name it. They've never been cool. But recently, Ross was seen chilling with people connected to Supreme's camp. At first glance, it might have looked random, but to 50, that wasn't random at all. That looked like a calculated chess move. Ross linking up with the son of the very man who allegedly tried to take him out back in the day. That ain't no coincidence, that's a message. And here's where it flips from drama to danger. Word on the street is that meetup wasn't just a photo op. Insiders are whispering that it was part of a bigger play, something serious, a setup in the making. Allegedly, McGriff Jr. is done playing cool, especially after 50 kept clowning Irv Gotti online even after the man passed. Now with JPrince circling back into the mix, that raises the stakes big time. See, Jay ain't just mad that 50 refused to check in. Word is, JPrince is trying to make an example out of 50. If 50 gets away with breaking the so-called rules and still moves freely, that sends the message to other rappers that the whole check-in culture might be dead. And let's be real, if anyone could shake up the system like that, it's 50. But he better stay alert, because when you start digging into JPrince's history, things get real serious, real quick. JPrince ain't just some music mogul. This is a man whose name was ringing in federal files all the way back in the late 80s. Word is he had real street ties and a tight grip on the underworld game. Allegedly, he was moving heavy product with roots stretching from Mexico deep into the South, Texas, Louisiana, and even reaching Chicago. That's no street hustle. That's international business. And Jay, he was right at the center of it. Around that same time, rumors say he linked up with Larry Hoover, the founder of the Gangster Disciples. And when that connection clicked, the whole game changed. Suddenly, there was a full-blown pipeline running from Houston to the Midwest. And Jay? He wasn't just involved, he was calling shots. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, Rap-A-Lot Records appears. On the surface, it looked like a label created to boost Houston's rap scene. But in the streets, the whispers said something else. That it was way more than just music. It was a front, a mask, a clean face for a much deeper operation. People in the streets always believed Rap-A-Lot Records wasn't just about music. It was a front, a clean face to wash dirty money from the game. And the feds, they weren't asleep. By 1988, the DEA had launched a full-blown investigation into JPrince and Rap-A-Lot. They were tapping phones, tracking shipments, flipping drivers, watching every move. They built a case that looked airtight until it wasn't. Just when it seemed like they were about to move in, poof, the whole case disappeared. By the late 90s, the U.S. Attorney General quietly dropped everything. No charges, no headlines, just silence. And let's be honest, that kind of thing don't just happen by luck. That takes power, serious pull behind the curtain. Fast forward to today, and now 50 Cent might be stepping on toes that have been deadly for decades. So here's the real question. Is 50 just being paranoid? Or is he peeping something before it pops off? Is there really a setup brewing behind the scenes? Or are we just watching one of the wildest ego wars in the industry unfold right in front of us? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear what you think. And if this crazy saga keeps unfolding, and trust it will, you know we'll be right here breaking it all down. So do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell, and share it with someone who needs the tea, because this story is far from over. We'll see you in the next one.